In 1917, 3 shepherd children from Fatima, Portugal, would receive messages from heaven that would shake the modern world. The first secret revealed a vision of hell, a sea of fire of souls who cried out for mercy. The second foretold of a greater war that would break out during the reign of Pius XII if mankind did not repent. But the third remained hidden, locked away in the Vatican, sealed inside an envelope that would not be opened for decades. Welcome to Catholic Prophecies for Our Time. My name is Danielle. Now today we're tackling a subject that is somewhat controversial. It has captivated believers and skeptics alike. The Third Secret of Fatima. Now I have done several videos on Fatima, Our Lady of Fatima, the truth about the third secret, and a crash course in the first 2 secrets. And I will put the links for all of those videos in the description box below. But this one is different. I came across a document written by Dr. Franco Edessa, published by the Apostolate of Our Lady of Good Success. So in this article, Dr. Edessa reveals the alleged third secret of Fatima. He's a well-known author, and he had the privilege of working with Father Luigi Villa. Now for those who don't know, Father Villa was given the great task of fighting Freemasonry in the church by the great saint Padre Pio. So I'm going to give you the real third secret that Father Villa revealed. Then I will break down its contents and show with real-world examples how this may actually be the real third secret of Fatima. So let's begin. As always, let's begin with a prayer. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in our battles, be our safeguard against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, thrust into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who roam around this world, seeking the ruin of souls. Saint Michael the Archangel, pray for us. Okay, so let's set the stage for the third secret. Sister Lucia, the main visionary, was instructed by her bishop to write down the third secret in 1943 when she fell ill. But due to circumstances beyond her control, she was unable to write it down. Now, when I say circumstances beyond her control, she states that she had a block when it came to writing the third secret down. She could write other letters, she could write other messages, other things down, but the third secret she was unable to. Then in January of 1944, the Blessed Virgin appeared to her and instructed her to write it down and told her to write down what she saw, but not what she understood it to mean, and also revealed to her another vision, which I will get to later on in the video. And she said that it was to be released in 1960. Now, when Sister Lucia was asked why 1960, she states, because the Blessed Virgin wishes it so, and it, the third secret, will be clearer then. And as we know, it was not released then. And I will touch more on that later on in the video. Now, in the year 2000, the Vatican published what it claimed was the full third secret, a vision of a bishop dressed in white walking through a destroyed city with a group of martyrs being struck down by soldiers. Now, this is a secret that we know. It says, quote, I write in obedience to you, my God, who commanded me to do so through His Excellency, the Bishop of Leiria, and through your most holy mother and mine. After the 2 parts which I have already explained, at the left of Our Lady and a little above, we saw an angel with a flaming sword in his left hand. Now remember that, the flaming sword, because that's going to become more relevant later on. It continued, flashing, it gave out flames that looked as though they would set the world on fire, but they died out in contact with the splendor that Our Lady radiated towards him from her right hand. Pointing to the earth with his right hand, the angel cried out in a loud voice, penance, penance, penance. And we saw in an immense light that is God something similar to how people appear in a mirror when they pass in front of it, a bishop dressed in white. We had the impression that it was the Holy Father. Other bishops, priests, men and women religious were going up a steep mountain at the top of which there was a big cross of rough-hewn trunks, as of a cork tree with the bark. Before reaching there, the Holy Father passed through a big city half in ruins, and half trembling with halting step, afflicted with pain and sorrow, he prayed for the souls of the corpses he met on his way. Having reached the top of the mountain on his knees, at the foot of the big cross, he was killed by a group of soldiers who fired bullets and arrows at him. And in the same way there died one after another the other bishops, priests, men and women religious, and various lay people of different ranks and positions. Beneath the 2 arms of the cross were 2 angels, each with a crystal aspersorium in his hand, in which they gathered up the blood of the martyrs, and with it sprinkled the souls that were making their way to God. Now, I am going to come back to that alleged secret later, but when it was revealed in the year 2000, some saw it as a prophecy about the assassination attempt of Pope John Paul II in 1981. Others connected it to broader themes of suffering and persecution within the Church. And that leads me to some of the controversies. Now, critics argue that the Vatican's interpretation of the Third Secret have been deliberately vague or even misleading, and some even suggest that the Church is hiding a more profound revelation. And some of their statements that I will reveal here point to a deeper unreleased portion. I personally think the complexity of the message itself might be part of the reason, because the Third Secret doesn't just speak about the Church. It touches on themes of suffering, the faith, and the battles that we will be facing as a humanity. Now, I have mentioned that some high-ranking members of clergy, bishops, priests, cardinals who have actually read the Third Secret of Fatima have hinted to its contents. So I'm going to take what Father Luigi Villa has revealed and what they have said and link them together. Now, when Dr. Adessa wrote the article, he was in the process of writing a book about Fatima. And in the article, he states, quote, "I asked Father Luigi Villa what I should answer if someone asked questions about the Third Secret of Fatima in relation to the presentation of the book that I was writing on Fatima." He says that Father Villa then showed him the text of the Third Secret, which was published in 1963 by the German magazine Neues Europa, and told me if you take the text of the Third Secret of Fatima, written by Lucia, and added or remove one comma, you would have created a fake. Now, this text, published by Neues Europa, is almost 3 times longer than the original text of the Third Secret, and it could definitely be called a quote-unquote fake. But a patently false text may contain individual sentences that belong to the original text. He says that at that point, before my eyes, he opened the pages of that document and pointed out one by one the sentences that were contained in the original text of the Third Secret written by Lucia. Now, this is the text of the secret in the magazine Neues Europa. What is in red is what he pointed out as being the Third Secret of Fatima. And when you put it all together, this is what it is. And I will read it for you right now. So, is this the Third Secret of Fatima? It says, "A great chastisement will fall on the entire human race. Not today as yet, not tomorrow, but in the second half of the 20th century. No longer does order reign anywhere, and Satan will reign over the highest places, directing the course of events. He, Satan, really will succeed in infiltrating to the top of the Church. Also for the Church, a time of her greatest trials will come. Cardinals will oppose cardinals, bishops will oppose bishops, and Satan will march amid their ranks. And in Rome, there will be changes. What is rotten will fall, and what will fall will never rise again. The Church will be darkened and the world deranged by terror. A great war will break out within the second half of the 20th century. Fire and smoke will fall from heaven. The waters of the oceans will become vapors, and the foam will rise up and flooding and sinking everything. Millions and millions of people will die by the hour, and the survivors will envy the dead. Death will reign everywhere for the errors committed by the foolish and by the partisans of Satan, who then, and only then, will reign over the world. At last, those who will survive all of these events will once more proclaim God and His glory and serve Him like before, when the world was not so corrupted." Father Gabriel Amorth, Vatican exorcist, theologian, and close personal friend of Padre Pio. He was interviewed by Jose Maria Zavala in 2011, and Mr. Zavala kept the interview secret until after the exorcist's death, and he published it for the first time in his book about Fatima. It was written in Spanish and translated to English by 1 Peter 5. Now, the article is rather lengthy, so I'll put a link to the article in the description box below. Now, in the interview, Father Amorth does say, as he has done in other places as well, that he does not believe the consecration of Russia by Pope John Paul II in 1984 was done. He said that it was not sufficient to satisfy the requirements set forth by Our Lady. Now, Pope John Paul II consecrated the world to the Blessed Mother, to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, instead of Russia. He says that there was no such consecration. He said he witnessed the act in St. Peter's Square that Sunday afternoon, and he was very close to the Pope, so close that he could almost touch him. Now, the article states, he says, pressed by Zavala on why he so forcefully believes that the consecration was not done, Father Amorth replied, very simple, John Paul II wanted to mention Russia expressly, but in the end, he did not. Now, the Blessed Mother also revealed to Father Stefano Gobi that the consecration was not done And I did a video on that as well, and that will be in the description box. Now, as I said, the article is rather lengthy, so I'm going to cut it down and go straight to the third secret. So, Jose Maria Zavala says, "Forgive me for insisting on the third secret of Fatima. Did Padre Pio relate it then to the loss of faith within the Church? Father Gabriel furrows his brow and sticks out his chin. He seems very affected. Indeed, he states, one day Padre Pio said to me very sorrowfully, 'You know, Gabriel, it is Satan who has been introduced into the bosom of the Church, and within a very short time will come to rule a false church.' Oh my gosh, some kind of Antichrist. When did he prophesy this to you?" Zavala asked. He said it must have been about 1960, since I was already a priest then. Was that why John the 23rd had such a panic about publishing the Third Secret of Fatima? So that people wouldn't think that he was the anti-pope or whatever it was? A slight but knowing smile curls the lips of Father Amorth. Now I will touch on John the 23rd later as well. It continues, "Did Padre Pio say anything else to you about future catastrophes, earthquakes, floods, wars, epidemics, hunger? Did he allude to the same plagues prophesied in the Holy Scriptures?" Now this is key, this is important. Nothing of the sort mattered to him, however terrifying they proved to be. So he did not deny that the third secret would contain natural disasters or catastrophes or wars. But he's saying that Padre Pio was not concerned so much about that, except, he continues, for the great apostasy within the Church. This was the issue that really tormented him, and for which he prayed and offered a great part of his suffering, crucified out of love. The third secret of Fatima? Exactly, says Father Amorth. But of course, in everything there is hope. There is always hope. He asked them, is there any way to avoid something so terrible, Father Gabriel? And Father Gabriel replied, there is hope, but it's useless if not accompanied by works. Let us begin by consecrating Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Let us recite the Holy Rosary. And let us all do prayer and penance. Okay, so let me go through what Father Amorth said, because it is very important. He said that Padre Pio revealed this to him in 1960. The Blessed Mother wanted the third secret revealed in 1960. In the third secret that was revealed that we read, the Blessed Mother said that in Rome there will be changes. What happened around 1960 that caused a lot of changes within the Church and is such a controversy today? The Second Vatican Council. And this is interesting as well, because he says that Padre Pio revealed to him that Satan has been introduced into the bosom of the Church, and within a very short time will come to rule a false church. We see here as well, in this third secret, that Satan will really succeed in infiltrating to the top of the Church. Cardinal Silvio Odi said, the third secret, has nothing to do with Gorbachev. The Blessed Virgin was alerting us against apostasy in the Church. Cardinal Mario Luigi Ciappi says, the third secret, foretold, among other things, that the great apostasy in the Church will begin at the top. And again, we go back to the secret. Satan will really succeed in infiltrating to the top of the Church. There's also Sister Lucia's nephew, Father Jose dos Santos Foligno. Now he stated his opinion on the contents of the third secret before the published alleged third secret in the year 2000. Now a little backstory. In Sister Lucia's memoirs, she sort of gives a hint as to the contents of the third secret, because she says in Portugal the dogma of the faith will always be preserved. And then there are 3 dots, so it's ... sort of indicating that there's a continuation. So Father Foligno stated, quote, I believe that the third part of the secret concerns the Church from within, perhaps doctrinal difficulties, a crisis of unity, rebellion. The last sentence my aunt wrote, which precedes that part that is still unknown, says, in Portugal the dogma of the faith will always be preserved, ... Therefore, people elsewhere in the Church might waver on dogma, but this is just speculation. And on another occasion he said, quote, I believe that there is a connection between that which is announced in the first part of the secret, which concerns wars and sufferings which would be everywhere, and the second part, which concerns the persecutions and a type of breakdown of the faith. Because where the ellipsis, which is the 3 dots, was placed, it means, here is the third part which is not revealed. And then the conclusion, in Portugal, the dogma of the faith will always be preserved, etc. This suggests to me that there is a relationship between faith and the third part of the secret. Therefore, it is something that relates to the Church. It is some kind of universal crisis which affects the whole Church and all of humanity. Now, Pope Pius XII, who read the Third Secret, said, quote, "Suppose, dear friend, that communism, which would be Russia and Russia's errors in Fatima's terms, was only the most visible of the instruments of subversion to be used against the Church and the traditions of divine revelation. I am worried by the Blessed Virgin's messages to Lucy of Fatima. This persistence of Mary about the dangers which menace the Church is a divine warning against the suicide of altering the faith in her liturgy." He says a day will come when the civilized world will deny its God, when the Church will doubt as Peter doubted. She would be tempted to believe that man has become God. In our churches, Christians will search in vain for the red lamp where God awaits them. Like Mary Magdalene, weeping before the empty tomb, they will ask, "Where have they taken him?" Now remember, Pope Pius XII was before 1960. Pope Pius XII read the Third Secret of Fatima. And he says, the persistence of Mary about the dangers which menace the Church is a divine warning against the suicide of altering the faith in her liturgy. Those are key and strong words. Because as we see here, the Blessed Mother said that in Rome there will be changes. The Church will be darkened and the world deranged by terror. Father Malachi Martin, who is a Vatican insider, a theologian, an exorcist, and author. He was also the chief aide to Augustine Cardinal Pio. In an interview in the 90s, he said, quote, "I was shown a copy of the Third Secret at the time Pope John XXIII opened it and sought the advice of a group of cardinals in 1960. One of the cardinals was Augustine Cardinal Pio, and he was his assistant. He said that the apostasy in the Church forms the backdrop or the contents of the Third Secret. He said the apostasy is just beginning now, but the chastisements foretold in the secret are very real physical chastisements, and they are terrible." He then related the exchange he had with Cardinal Pio. He said when the cardinal emerged from the meeting with John the 23rd, he was looking pale as a sheet, and he asked, "What's wrong, Your Eminence?" And Cardinal Pio says, "We've just killed 1 billion people." And he handed him the sheet of paper with the 25 lines of writing, which was the Third Secret. Many other people who have read the Third Secret said that it was 25 lines. He said since that day, every word of the text has been imprinted indelibly in his mind. And he said that Cardinal Pio had made the statement about 1 billion people because the Pope had just made the decision not to release the Third Secret and not to consecrate Russia. And he said that Cardinal Pio also said the Pope John the 23rd, upon reading the Third Secret, handed them the letter and said, "This is not for my time," which again confirms Father Amorth in his interview when he said that Pope John, he did not want people to think that he was an anti-pope. The physical chastisements as well as the apostasy, again, correspond to the Third Secret that I read earlier. Now in his book, The Keys of This Blood, he does list the categories of the secrets. He said, quote, "It is a physical chastisement of nations involving catastrophes, man-made or natural, on land, on water, and in the atmosphere of the globe." And he says a spiritual chastisement consisting of the disappearance of religious belief, widespread unfaith in many countries. Now also in an interview on the radio show with Art Bell, they were discussing the Third Secret and viewers were calling in, trying to guess the contents of the Third Secret. And there was one viewer that seemed to hit the nail on the head, that was spot on. Take a listen.
All right, here we go. Just a couple of things I want to quickly read. One from a friend in Australia, Father,
Yes.
who says, "I had a Jesuit priest tell me more of the Third Secret of Fatima years ago in Perth. He said, among other things, the last pope would be under control of Satan. Pope John fainted thinking it might be him. we were interrupted before I could hear the rest. Any comment on that?
Yes. It sounds as if they were reading or being told the text of the Third Secret.
Oh my.
It sounds like it.
And in another interview in 1996, Father Martin said, quote, "The vast Roman Catholic Church is on the downslope. It is losing steadily and heavily. 2/3, that is, 2/3 of 1 billion people, are being led into a form of belief which is irreconcilable with the traditional essence and outlook and the belief of the Roman Catholic Church, which has been for almost 2 millennia. He was then asked, in what way? To which he replied, for over 30 years, the majority of the governors, the directors, the managers of this organization, which is the Catholic Church, has been feeding a form of belief which is not Catholic, which has made compromises on basic doctrines, which therefore has led the faithful astray on their beliefs. Now the church will be darkened and the world deranged by terror. The Blessed Mother revealed this at La Salette, that the church will be in eclipse." Okay, Father Alonso, who is the official Fatima archivist and who had the privilege of interviewing Sister Lucia, this was her last known interview. He had this to say in the Third Secret. He said, quote, and this aligns with her memoirs and what her nephew said. He said, quote, "In Portugal, the dogma of the faith will always be preserved. The phrase most clearly implies a critical state of faith, which other nations will suffer, that is to say, a crisis of faith, whereas Portugal will preserve its faith." He goes on to say, "In the period preceding the great triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, terrible things are going to happen. These form the content of the third part of the secret. What are they? If in Portugal the dogma of the faith will always be preserved, it can be clearly deduced from this that in other parts of the church, these dogmas are going to become obscure or lost altogether. Thus, it is quite possible that in this intermediate period which is in question, which is before the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, the text makes concrete references to the crisis of the faith of the church and to the negligence of the pastors themselves." Pope St. John Paul II, twice he linked the secret to the Book of Revelation, and so did Sister Lucia. And in the year 2000, he referenced the tale of the dragon dragging the stars down from heaven, which is Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. It says his tail swept a third of the stars from the sky, tossing them to the earth. He interpreted this as the dragging or falling away of consecrated souls away from God because of corruption and the loss of faith. And he said, quote, "Can the mother, with all the force of the love that she fosters in the Holy Spirit and desires everyone's salvation, can she remain silent when she sees the very basis of her children's salvation undermined?" When asked if the Third Secret should be published, he replied, "Given the seriousness of the contents, my predecessors in the Petrine office diplomatically preferred to postpone publication so as not to encourage the world power of communism to make certain moves. On the other hand," now this is important because remember, he revealed the contents, or he revealed an alleged Third Secret in the year 2000. What he is saying here now and what was revealed are two different things. He says, on the other hand, it should be sufficient for all Christians to know this. If there is a message in which it is written that the oceans will flood whole areas of the earth, and that from one moment to the next, millions of people will perish, truly the publication of such a message is no longer something to be so much desired. That was not revealed in the year 2000. That vision of the Pope walking up the hill, martyrs around him, he was struck down and killed as well. That vision did not contain water, did not contain the ocean flooding the earth. This alleged Third Secret that Father Luigi Villa revealed does contain that. As we see here, the water of the oceans will become vapors and the foam will rise up and flooding and sinking everything. It was as if Pope John Paul II was giving us a hint to the actual contents of the Third Secret. He continued, "Many wish to know simply from curiosity and a taste for the sensational, but they forget that knowledge also implies responsibility. They only seek the satisfaction of their curiosity, and that is dangerous. If at the same time they are not disposed to do something, and if they are convinced that it is impossible to do anything against evil." He then grasped his rosary and said, "Pray, pray, and ask for nothing more. Leave everything else to the Mother of God." So I spoke earlier of the vision that Sister Lucia had in January of 1944. She was seeking guidance before the Blessed Sacrament because she was unable to write the third secret down. She said that she felt the familiar hand of the Blessed Mother on her shoulder, and she looked up and she saw the Blessed Mother's beautiful face. Our Lady told her, "Do not be afraid. God wanted to prove your obedience, faith, and humility." This was the reason why she had the block, why she could not write it down. The Blessed Mother continues, "Be at peace and write what they order you, but not what has been given you to understand its meaning. After writing it, place it in an envelope. Close it and seal it, and write on the outside that this can be opened in 1960 by the Cardinal Patriarch of Lisbon or by the Bishop of Leiria." Sister Lucia said that at that moment she had a vision, and she recounted it in her diary. So Sister Lucia says that I felt my spirit flooded by a mystery of light that is God, and in him saw and heard. The tip of the spear is a flame and latches and touches the axis of the earth. It shudders. Mountains, cities, towns, and villages with their inhabitants are buried. The sea, the rivers, and the clouds emerge from their limits, overflowing and bringing with them in a whirlwind houses and people in numbers that are not possible to count. It is a purification of the world because of sin as it plunges. Hatred and ambition cause a destructive war. She says then she felt the rapid beating of her heart, and in her mind the echoes of a gentle voice saying, "In time, one faith, one baptism, one church, holy, Catholic, and apostolic. In eternity, heaven." Now in 1984, Cardinal Ratzinger, who would become Pope Benedict XVI, said in an interview with Jesus Magazine about the third secret, he said, "It is a religious prophecy, and it warns of dangers threatening the faith and the life of the Christian, and therefore of the world." Now, Cardinal Ratzinger was also the one to give full approval to the Akita messages when the Blessed Mother revealed to Sister Sasagawa in the 1970s. He said once he read the messages of Akita, he immediately said that the message of Fatima and the message of Akita are one and the same. The third secret was revealed to the children of Fatima on October 13, 1917. The third message given to Sister Sasagawa was October 13, 1973. Mind you, it was a different year, but it was both October 13th, both the third message. So this is the third message given to Sister Sasagawa. She says, "My dear daughter, listen well to what I have to say to you. You will inform your superior. As I told you, if men do not repent and better themselves, the Father will inflict a terrible punishment on all humanity. It will be a punishment greater than the deluge, such as one will never have seen before. Fire will fall from the sky and wipe out a great part of humanity, the good as well as the bad, sparing neither priests nor faithful. The survivors will find themselves so desolate that they will envy the dead. The only arms which will remain for you will be the rosary and the sign left by my son. Each day recite the prayers of the rosary. With the rosary, pray for the Pope, the bishops, and the priests. The work of the devil will infiltrate even in the church in such a way that one will see cardinals opposing cardinals and bishops against bishops. The priests who venerate me will be scorned and opposed by their confreres. Churches and altars sacked. The church will be full of those who accept compromises, and the demon will press many priests and consecrated souls to leave the service of the Lord. The demons will be especially implacable against souls consecrated to God. The thought of the loss of so many souls is the cause of my sadness. If sins increase in number and gravity, there will no longer be pardon for them. Pray very much the prayers of the Rosary. I alone am able to save you from the calamities that approach. Those who place their confidence in me will be saved." So Pope Benedict XVI was revealing the third secret without actually revealing it, when he said that the message of Akita and the message of Fatima are one and the same. Because as you can see side by side, they are strikingly similar. So, my friends, what do you think? Do you think that this is the actual third secret of Fatima? I mean, it's pretty compelling. We've heard from very reputable sources today on the content of the third secret. And then what I have revealed to you, they are very similar, if not the same. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's share this video. get this message out there. And as always, to Jesus through Mary, God bless you.